over the last few years, there's been months where I can buy food one day, 1 week a month, maybe $20 to spend on food. And, you know, I got really sick, got into drugs through real depression. And I wouldn't change a day of it not right back through the whole rock and roll thing.
In 2002, the record label Flying Nun celebrated its 21st anniversary. In that time, it has achieved a #1 album and a #1 single. It has received a Tradians Award for export sales. It had 3 songs in New Zealand's all-time top 30, and it has an international reputation for unique and original music.
The collection of bands that happened to be on this little label were making such innovative and fresh music. It was just so exciting.
The Straitjacket Fits, along with the Chills, would both gain international acclaim, and 21 years on, Flying Nun is still signing new bands with the same sort of potential.
I felt really, privileged to be on a pretty legendary label worldwide, really. It's pretty renowned for being a unique New Zealand label.
Flying Nun was a place to find people that were passionate about the music and not necessarily interested in how the business side would work. This combination would create a unique and seminal New Zealand record label. On March 22nd, 2002, at York Street Studios, Auckland, a handful of Flying Nun bands recorded versions of their favourite songs from the Flying Nun back catalogue for the album Under the Influence. The man behind the beginning of Flying Nun was Roger Shepherd. In 1981, he was running a record store in Christchurch and decided he was going to start a record label and release the exciting music he was seeing around town.
It just happened. Could have been anyone.
It was a Dunedin band that caught Roger Shepherd's attention, and it was that band's first song that caught the attention of everyone else.
I actually bought that as a single, and I can remember clearly I was about 18, 19 in my first flat, jumping off the kitchen table onto the floor and pogoing around the room with my mates.
It's like New Zealand's Louie Louie, it's just perfectly in proportion and not too garagey, not too pop.
It's just a pure piece of pop simplicity / genius.
They were just a phenomenally good band, and I really felt that they needed to have a record release, that there's something, it needed to be documented in some shape or form. And it wasn't really about, we can sell lots of records. It was, really need to get something out.
He was the first one to really show any interest, from a label, real interest, I guess.
Yeah, he was very enthusiastic.
He responded to the aesthetic of what we're about, We'd gone into, I guess, the major Auckland recording studio at the time and took in a demo tape, and we were told to get out of the studio as quickly as possible because, the producer there just said it was, there was nothing of any value whatsoever.
There was no commercial value.
Yeah.
So that was the end of our Auckland idea of recording in an Auckland studio.
The Clean ended up recording Tally Ho in Christchurch, and it reached number 19 in the New Zealand charts. The rawness and vitality of the song also caught the attention of Chris Knox, who had been in the Dunedin punk band The Enemy. He was to have a major impact at Flying Nun.
We definitely wanted to be involved, come hell or high water. There was no way this bloody label was going to get by without us.
Chris Knox bought a 4-track recorder with money he inherited from the death of his grandmother. He and his friend Doug Hood used it to record the Clean's next record, Boodle Boodle Boodle.
I'm feeling cold, boy, feeling hot. Doctor said, no, boy, you gotta learn. First I'll shoot up and then short turn rock. Anything could happen and it could be right now.
The freedom was amazing. Not having some stupid engineer who never heard your cruddy music saying, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, and foisting their own idea of what a good record sounded like upon you was just like, yes, just give us more of this.
We were recording in a situation where you couldn't really hear what was going down as it was going down, so we only really discovered what it sounded like when we listened back. And so it was incredibly exciting. You never really knew at the end of a take whether you had a good recording.
Where we recorded Tally Ho for $50 and kind of shows. They recorded Boodle 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 for, I think it was $750. And I think it was pretty good value for money, really, because it's a good sounding record.
The lack of money spent on the recording seemed irrelevant to Boodle Boodle Boodle's success. It reached number 5 in the charts and stayed in the top 50 for 6 months.
And in the early days, we were selling like 200 of, for example, the Clean's Boodle 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 12-inch into one shop. And then by the end of the week, they'll be ringing up for another 200.
All local records are going to have a reasonable selling point with girlfriends, family, school teachers, music teachers. They're all going to buy it. So you got 50 or 100 straight away. So I saw that, but when it got into the thousands, that was interesting.
And Boodle was such an important record in that, it sold lots of copies. It was, commercially, it was hugely successful for us, which gave us the confidence to do other stuff. And also gave us a bit of cash flow.
The EP Great Sounds Great was the Clean's follow-up.
They made Boodle and then they made a follow-up EP and then decided that the pressure of being so successful in New Zealand was too much for them and they had to break up. So they broke up. It's kind of the height of their popularity, really. I guess if they kept at it and they could have made the kind of impact elsewhere that they'd made in New Zealand at that time.